Hello, hello. It is John Binnie. I am here just leaving the hospital in the city of Edinburgh after visiting my father. Thank you so much for all your love and support and well wishes. Greatly appreciated. And he's gradually getting better, so thank you. I would like to talk to you today about the subject of aliens. Woohoo! Who doesn't love talking about aliens? And I'd like to tell you about all about my experiences. And I'm going to start like right from the start, like right from the what's it like being a human, um, and the just the general concept and beliefs and experiences that I've had. Now I only have 40 minutes, and I can blab on for ages about this subject in particular. If there's anything in particular that you'd like me to focus on or discuss, then in my Drive with John videos, just let me know. Please say in the comments. So let's take it back. I'm going to give you a little kind of brief history, which is during ever since like YouTube turned up. Um, I remember like just watching it from the very early days, and I would watch shows. I think they're still going, like Project Camelot is one of them. Um, and then I'd watch Third Phase of Moon, and just lots of different shows about what was really a pursuit of the truth. Um, Although I didn't really know it at the time, I would consider my that behavior like truthing, or being a truther. And the general objective I had was I was hungry to learn more about, like, I grew up in the 80s with like lots of sci-fi like Star Wars and E.T. and these experiences, very much like Star Wars, which I think is much closer to reality than many things, is that, you know, no, in Star Wars they don't go like the humans, or humanoids don't go, there's an alien. What are we going to do? It's going to eat us. Um, and it's funny because I just thought of Jabba the Hutt, and I'm pretty sure he does eat lots of different beings. Um, so yeah, that's like that was my experience. And so when I began to become more exposed to these things, you can have theories that, well, especially with AI, like machine learning, similarity recommenders, which is how often they started out, especially in the early days. If you watched a video that had themes of UFOs in them, then likely you're going to get recommended more videos with UFOs in them because you're more likely to watch them. And so your truth evolves. And that is like, it's still a reality today, although the algorithms have got more advanced. And they learn quite credible things about you, or predict them through your behavior, or predictions of knowledge. That it's just really fascinating to see the effects that's kind of cause and effect, this constant feedback loop. And I feel this is like, in many respects, the algorithms like mimic reality, right? Which is, if I'm interested in aliens, I will experience more about aliens in my life. And that was definitely true for me. And now I was just scratching my head a little bit there. It's like trying to remember when when did I start to like have encounters with aliens? Um, when did it start to become more and more normal for me to be talking to aliens? Because yes, I know we're only 4 minutes in, and maybe I should have said this at the start, but yes, I talk to aliens a lot. I talk, uh, well, almost every day to beings from around the universe. So, um, yeah, I think what I started to learn from uh, these UFO channels whereas you'd hear of concepts like, you know, ancient aliens and just our really intriguing histories of, ancient monuments and sacred sites and all these places that we could still today, despite what you might think you could do with our construction technology, is extremely difficult to build and with such accuracy. And whilst we have some of the tools now to be able to do some of this stuff, it's like now, it's thousands of years after it was invented. So what what were we able to do back then as a human race, and what can we do now? And I love also this experience of the speculation and what seems to be a lot of at that time for me. So going back about ten years ago, about 3 years before my first big awakening, I was just really fascinated. I learned so much about, and a lot of which I know to be true, and a lot of it to be like misinformation, and uh, not necessarily intentional or accidental or otherwise, just like not not my truth. But what I started to experience was a general knowing, like that the more that meets the eye to us humans, and that we're likely not uh, like pure pedigree humans that have never had any um, interaction with other species during our evolution, our development. And I also remember, like, whenever I watched sci-fi movies and when I was interested in modern science, that it just seemed really shocking that was it you know a popular scientist saying, the statistics of us, like the probability of us being alone in this universe are incredible, right? And wouldn't it be a lonely universe if it's just us people on planet Earth? And when you start to open your mind to your inner knowing that likely you're not the only species in this vast universe, you start to realize, okay, there's probably are others, and in which case, what are they like? Who are they? Where do they come from? What do they do? And it's a really beautiful feeling as well, right? You start to feel like, well, I don't need to pretend that there's uh, aliens out there. Once I accept that it's likely that it's probable that they're there, because it's, whilst we're in a kind of Goldilocks zone near Earth, there's many planets near the Goldilocks zone, as it turns out, and that we know life, for example, here on Earth, can grow in the most extreme environments. And just because a human couldn't grow there doesn't grow humans. Doesn't mean to say that others can't, other life forms can't. So I think we're just coming on to Ferry Road. Um, so yeah, things started to change for me, and I'm just like trying to think of the first aliens I really spoke to, and I would feel the first I spoke to were I had seen some UFO sightings, and objects flying and lights, and often quite smaller ones. And I'll tell you about a really big one I saw more recently in the last few years. Um, yeah, what I experienced was I started to, in my meditation, talk to my spirit guides, and I had this feeling, because I was talking to one spirit guide. This is really common, right? We talk to one guide first, and they'll front the rest of our guides. It's not always the same guide fronting the other 7 or 8 active guides. Um, but what I found was that they felt really different. The When I first started talking to my guide Maya, I now know her as Maya. Her and she's she's listening just now. She's like, what was it like, John? I would say her vibration felt very high, almost like a kind of, to me, it seemed like a very kind of bright white light being, almost like this angelic feeling in her presence. And her messages, the communication itself, very loving and very high vibration and joyous and very caring and compassionate and yet and eager to support me on my journey in communicating with them. And as I understand it, Maya's most recent past life or lives has been here as an elemental being, um, helping serve Gaia and the land and the ley lines and beings that live on the land. But she's also done this in previous planets, and to that extent, her soul has had incarnations as other um, on other planets as an alien element, or as I really prefer to call them, galactic, because aliens aliens like saying, "Well, you're not from Earth," you know. There's like Earthlings and not Earthlings, whereas the reality is we're just all in this together, right? So you'll hear me more and more just talk about use the word galactic. Um, and so that evolved, and you can watch lots of other videos to describe how I started talking each day to my spirit guides and asking messages, and then turning those messages into songs, um, and now using that channeling ability I've developed for my job, my day job. In fact, I'm off to do 3 sessions down in a wellness center just now, lightly talking to uh, the people's guides, and it seems rare now that I work with. It seems rare that I work with people that have human guides, but they do turn up from time to time. So uh, yeah, after I'd began talking to my guides, and then I also started to get appreciation. I remember having a reading and being introduced to my my guide, Emmonshaw, who's a lion. So a lion, he, he's not. I know sometimes. I think when I first saw him, I saw him as more humanoid. Now I see him as more as a lion. It's almost like he's just become his natural, what feels right for him. And even his name, I thought this was really fascinating. Is that we often cling to names that must be like so accurate, just like other humans. But humans change their names, and it shouldn't be surprising that our guides can be called many different things. And anyway, my Lyran guide, Emenshell, I started to get a sense of like he's from a different planet, and he's from a different planet in space and time. I don't even know, without researching or asking whether the planet still exists. Is it? Where is it? What's it like there? There's just so many questions to ask, and I didn't ask them at that point. Um, and then I started to do more. As soon as I started to do client sessions, that's when everything got really galactic really fast. Because, as I said, when I meet people's guides and ask them to step forwards, they really step into this. It's not just. It would be easy if, or simpler if, every single being in the universe was humanoid, right? And they're not. Um, and it'd be easier if they're all the same galactic race. You're either human or alien. It's like, no, they're just a whole wide range. And I remember quite early on being introduced. So one of my clients' guides that stepped forwards was like really high vibration. They're like this very high vibration cloud, like this energy cloud. And my reaction was, "Whoa, you're like so different." How do I even talk to you? And I remember asking them, "Look, can you, can you like show yourself maybe as a humanoid, or even if that's just in light form and like the outline of a human, that'd be really helpful for me. And so I would I would do these things, and it would really help. Um, it would help me just understand like how best to communicate with beings of different vibrations. And so then it like stretched out to you know I list some of these in one of my training courses. I think it's the foundational training course to start to talk about the different guides who may end up, different galactic races, but there's so many, right? Um, Avian, Arcturian, Andromedan. Um, you may be talking to ray beings. I started with the blue rays and then also onto other rainbow rays, um, to talking with elementals, planets and stars, like the souls of planets and stars, uh, Cetas, Mantis, Lyran, um, Reptilian, like the list goes on and on and on. And there's just so many. And the Nordics, full whites, like you you can just go on and on. And it's cool, right? It's really cool that there's so many of them. Um, what I really loved is as I got to meet each of them, you start to get a feel for their superpowers, um, both as like the potential capabilities of their forms as like a humanoid form or otherwise, and then also um, them as a soul. And I didn't quite back in the early days as I started this work. I felt like everyone had an origin, like I'm humans because I'm from Earth, right? That's It's not as simple as an answer as that. The the reality is I'm human right now. I'm sure of it. But things are very different when I look back to previous lives when I've been on different planets, including I've been Lyran before. And when you take into account these different lifetimes you've had, you realize that you're just on a journey. Your soul's on a journey, visiting, living in multiple different planets and lifetimes. And it's important to just feel into that and say, look, when I meet a spirit guide or any other being, whether they're physically present in this reality or not, that they've also likely had different lifetimes in different planets and different star systems and different dimensions, because our souls choose to grow, right? And as our souls grow, they get great growth from these different, ever increasingly broader explorations of dimensions, beings, shapes, sizes, and forms. And and that's really helpful, right? It's what many souls seek is to grow. So yeah, I found that now when I introduce a guide, I used to I used to obsess introducing a spirit guide to someone about getting their name right, but knowing exactly which you know star system they're from and where is it and at what time. And I get it, right? It's a very human reaction, but it's a bit like I feel whilst my guides and other people's guides or my clients' guides are very forgiving and very patient. Um, they It's a little bit like asking, "Hey John, where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from the hospital I was just at." "All right, but I don't mean that. I mean, where are you from?" "So, well, I live in Dunbar in Scotland." "Oh no, no, that's not what I mean. Like, where were you born?" "Well, I was born in Leicester." Like, "Oh, okay. So, uh, and so what planet's that on?" It's like, "Well, it's on Earth." And as you start to, and if you just kept going on that pattern, you'd find out, before that, a lifetime in New York, and then um, before that, and so on to different planets, different beings, different sizes and shapes. And I have other videos that talk about my my various my various incarnations. Um, so yeah, I just know that it's really important to remember that we're multi-dimensional beings with multiple origins. Um, I'm just going to give myself. I think my phone's starting to overheat a little bit. Let's just check how its temperature's doing. Okay. Um, um, yeah, I think it's just really important to understand. Try not to be too obsessed about specifics, because that's what really fascinates me about people with spirit guides is that they're very it's almost like self-sacrificial, right? They'll say things like, "Oh, um, yeah," and they're self-sacrificial in the respect that um, they'll say things like, "Oh, you need to." Yeah, so they'll say things. Please don't obsess about talking to me, John, and finding out where I'm from and what my name is. So I tend to start with the basics, like what do you look like? What is your current origin that you're showing yourself as? Sometimes it's multiple. Sometimes you'll get like two or three, and the guide will say, "I want to show you, that I've also been human, but I am also, a Nordic." And it's like, okay, thank you for showing yourself. And you'll ask their name, and you get a name, and then you go off and uh, do your work. You just ask them, okay, well, thank you for showing up. We can ask more questions later, but let's see how we can best help the client at this time. Because you can spend a lot of time in a client session chatting away with a, with a another being from a different planet and getting really lost in all the detail, which is really lovely. Um, but your client will have likely told you, or you can ask, what are the specifics to focus on in the session. And I do remember, I think it might have been, I was reading in a magazine, or maybe my brother was telling me about this, is that some people in meditation were able to talk to aliens. And I remember thinking how incredible that was that, they were around in these higher dimensions. Um, and that if we could access these higher dimensions, like the astral planes, then we would be able to talk with these beings. And that used to blow my mind that that was possible. I never thought that not only would I learn how to do it myself, but it would become my job and I'd also teach how to do it. And that is super fun. And now, as well as talking to spirit guides, I spend a lot of time in Dreamtime and I visit Galactic Federation ship predominantly. You probably hear me talk about it quite a lot as well. Galactic Federation ship Athena. Um, and that is incredible. Like, there's great friends there. I meet my guides. I also meet other practitioners there, if you like, other people that are doing healing work and leaders. And I meet like their higher self, and that's just so lovely to experience. And I also visit there. I take my membership group um, to Galactic Federation ship, and also to uh, sometimes clients. In fact, I had a client session just yesterday. I think was it yesterday or the day before, um, where we're in a different ship called Uh, I'll just call it by its short name, Celeste. Um, short for Celestial Centurion. Uh, and it's just been, incredible to know beings there. I've met some of the the captains or commanders of Federation ships, and we've done worked with them and asked for messages and um, experienced just really incredible experiences. And I always get a very loving, passionate, and yet fiery and um, empowering messages and feelings whenever I go to these ships. And in 20, now was it 2020? I think I saw. So I've been doing the same morning run out to the south of Dunbar where I live, countryside, early in the morning for years and years. And one morning I saw that same Galactic Federation ship, Athena, um, in the 3D world. And I wasn't long into talking with people's spirit guides. I've been talking to mine for several years, but I was quite new to that. And I remember being really quite shocked about the whole thing. Um, I saw it's just this huge craft. This ship was about 5 moons in length, like 5 full moons in length. And it was really difficult to gauge how far away it was, but it was massive. And it was moving slowly but consistently across the sky, and it took quite a while to get across. Like, I don't really know, maybe it's like 20 seconds, maybe longer. Because when I first saw it, I didn't realize what it was. Like, when I first saw it, I thought it was like the moon shining on clouds. But then it kept coming across the sky, and there was no moon. It was just these sparkling lights, and as it came across, it was like this kind of big galactic cruise ship. Is how it looked. And I was with my dog Patch, and I was crying a lot. He seemed pretty calm about the whole thing. Um, I had these uncontrollable tears, but they weren't of sadness. And it was just a really powerful, beautiful, magical experience. And when I asked in meditation afterwards, he said, "Oh, it's because we came along and all the lights were on to show." It was like a kind of show of unity of all these different beings and different galactic races saying hello and and showing that they wanted me to physically see them. And they said it was so important for me for this to happen, for me to that had gone to great lengths to show themselves physically to me. Um, and also they appeared to a friend within a few days as well. So that was a really powerful experience, and it's still like I still remember it very vividly. I suspect I'll never forget that experience. And yeah, I really loved how that experience went, and the message as well was just incredibly humbling. It took me months, and maybe still to this day, um, years later, like it's a lot to receive, right? That somehow you would be so important to these beings that they would want to go to a lot of effort to show themselves to you and a lot of risk, um, to their safety and health to come close to showing themselves to you. So that was definitely a big thing and a big connection between me and aliens. My kids have both seen UFOs, like multiple UFOs each, and they saw them more when they were younger, but they still see them from time to time. I was just filming one this morning. Just out, just I could see it to the east, no, the west of my garden faces largely west. Um, yeah, I could see this ship hovering. I asked, but it wasn't very interested in talking to me. it was it a human? Was it like a human, a flying human? It seemed quite large. It could have been a plane, but it seemed very, very static for quite a long time. And I included it in my the background of my Hi, it's John video because I thought it would be quite cool and to see if anyone spots it because there's quite a few lights behind me of the town, and then we also live next to a sports center, so it has some lights as well. And yeah, I just really enjoy now uh, being open to the fact that we are we are all galactic, right? Just because you live on Earth doesn't mean to say that you're any different to any other being across this universe. Like we're all unique. That is true. We're not special in the respect that we need to call ourselves Earthlings and everyone else not of Earth. Um, Instead, it feels so much like more liberating to me and more inclusive when I just consider every being across this universe as being both possible in my reality and then equal. You know, we're all equal together, and I really love that. Like I love the fact that when I talk to galactic beings, I used to call them aliens in my own meditation, or my own channeling, and also uh, in my client sessions. That it doesn't faze me. You know, I embrace it, and I feel very, very blessed to be able to connect with beings of such diversity. Um, and I feel like many of these beings aren't even humanoid, right? And yet we literally battle and war and kill each other for our differences, our physical differences, and our differences are much more minor than the differences that you see across different galactic races. And I feel that this is also why in the fear programming that this whole idea is that you just when you thought it was safe to love another human, oh, we're going to bring these aliens in and create like this false fear agenda about them being out to get you. And I keep seeing flashes of opportunities where I'll be able to um, lead by example and connect with with other beings that likely in physical form and just show that like it's okay, like you're safe. Um, and you just need to use your own judgment, just like you would people. And I think everything's so much easier if you in life if you try and bring equality to everything, right? So, you know, someone on the street that has no home and is suffering from some illnesses and maybe addictions is equal to me. And when I see them, a fellow human, I want to, talk to them and to help them, or at very least, donate to them. And because that's what I would want for someone to do to me, I wouldn't want to be ignored. I also feel that when I see other galactic beings, I don't think, oh, wow, you're just so different. You can't possibly relate to us. Like, there are the many of the same things that bind us as themes in love on Earth are true across the universe. And it includes, for example, having parents. It includes having loved ones. It includes having dreams. It includes feeling shame or guilt, and also joy and unconditional love and unity and everything in between. And this is something that I see sometimes I see in client sessions, and I do teach it as well. Most, and I first saw this on a Galactic Federation ship in I think it was like a membership group, and or I was doing a recording for my membership group. And what I saw as I went aboard the Galactic Federation ship Athena, in this big viewing gallery, there was just this huge audience. So there was about 300 beings from around the universe, all different shapes and sizes, and they would connect just at the start of the meeting. One of them would nominate to go first, and then they would begin like a chain connection of unity between every single heart. And it felt like they were going round the room, creating this big circle, this big loop. And as they did so, and everyone joins the circle, everyone retains their individual, unique superpowers and, opinions and consciousness, but we also shared and connected in deep unity. Um, and what was just so beautiful about that was that you could just see everyone knew how to do it. It didn't matter if you're a big, tall mantis being, or like a bear, or uh, like a humanoid, or an energy cloud, or um, whatever um, you were, whatever vibration. Everyone has the option to choose to connect into unity. And that just blew my mind. I was like, you guys, like, you guys know exactly what to do. You seem to be very clear that when you meet together, connecting in unity is very, very powerful for you. So that was just a lot of fun. And I can also see that people really benefit from unity and the concept of unity because once we get over the fact that we're not going to lose ourselves, right? That it's just still important to have boundaries and sovereignty and your own uniqueness. That if you still with what common themes you have, which is loved ones, friends and family, dreams, self-love, like many of the most important things in this life are common between all of us, and not just in Earth, but also across the universe. Um, and that I really love, right? It's like you can connect with other beings and not just feel that it's okay to talk with them when they're from or are currently existing in a different part of the universe. You're also able to like connect with them in unity and feel what it feels like. Part of you to experience what it's like being there. And that, oh, I just love that so much. It fills my heart with such joy that we can do this. And it makes so much sense why those that oppose us want to create fear programming to divide us. Because dividing us helps cultivate fear about our differences. And yet, in unity, we're able to choose to say, well, I still love you. And not only do I still love you, even though I know how different you are, is that I love the differences. And just loving those differences is just so powerful. It's really where this whole universe wants to get to, is to appreciate and love every difference between us, and also to celebrate the unity across all of us. And that, for me, just feels good, good, good. It feels like if you want to heal a planet, save a planet, preparing yourself for unity and connecting with others is fantastic. Connecting when you wish, to disconnect when you wish, to form your own personal opinions about how helpful unity is. Both of us like kind of spiritual and philosophical um, like term or paradigm, but it really helps like reduce those barriers so that you're not thinking, oh, one day I'm going to talk to aliens. Like literally, if you told me back when when I first started watching YouTube videos about UFOs, that I was going to be talking to the very same beings that fly them, and also training people how to do it and doing it for a living. Wow, my mind would have been blown, and maybe it wasn't. Go, go, go! You have to go. So yeah, I was just encouraging that card to come out. Thankfully, there's lots of space behind me. Um, so yeah, I think that's just my opinions about galactic beings, aliens, And I'd encourage you to form your own. One thing you'll need to look out for and to discern, form your own opinions about is others are like more people are likely through, especially through 2025, will be claiming to front um, aliens, as in like be a contactee and be the spokesperson for aliens. And some of the fear programming themselves will be looking for credible people uh, to step forwards to do this. Um, and then there's also uh, some people that will do it just for the fame. Like they'll want to be, seen as the first person that talks to aliens and that has the alien agenda, clearly understood and articulated. Um, and I've already seen some uh, spiritual leaders or healers or channelers or whatever you'd like to label them as that they're saying, oh, I'm going to be a contactee. I'm going to be representing these beings and channeling them and meeting them face to face. That's all great, right? And don't get me wrong, it's really exciting that the human race is going to do this, but know that at least at first, it is likely, not definite, but likely, some of the first experiences will be faked. Or should I say, what fear programs are best at, or lies are best at when there's a partial truth. So when there's a partial truth like, well, the ship is built by aliens, and two of the beings are alien, but the main one you're talking to is engineered, um, or they're actually human, but they definitely don't look like human. There's like all these aspects for you to discern through, just feel through, like just feel through place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, how does this feel? Does their energy and their intention match their actions and words that they're saying? So yeah, really bringing your attention to that. Now, I did get asked by my guides, um, would I be interested in being a contactee, to be a spokesperson to meet with, be a spokesperson for other, um, for galactic races and Earthlings. And I said, look, I said, right now, um, what I would be open to is only speaking to my spirit guides in person. And it's because I don't seek the fame or exposure or necessarily the experience of just randomly connecting with some random galactic being, but more that the best galactic beings I know are my guides. And so if I was to trust anyone with such a life-altering connection and experience, it would be my guides. And so I just said this to my guides. I said, look, I'm um, I'm happy to be a contactee and to talk to you guys, but let's just focus on you only. So just meeting you guys. And yeah, so we'll just see how that goes. That was my agreement. It was an honor to be asked. And, it was really lovely and really enjoyable to feel into, but also help me discern and decide, well, what do I want for like the rest of my life? Because well, I know what I don't want, and that's to be kind of distracted off my mission by money, fame, fortune, other forms of abundance. What I want is to do a great job at my mission and to help raise the vibrations of billions of hearts, help people connect, with their guides and empower them to do their own healing, balanced hearts and lives in this universe, not to just kind of obsess just about this next wave of UFO or USO uh, interactions. Now, you probably will see me doing some videos about these things, right? Because um, I've just seen glimpses of it. Like, mainly if they happen to me, or if you're asking me my opinions about them, or asking me to channel messages from my guides about some of these experiences, that's when I would do it. But I wouldn't just do it to follow a trend. I'm not interested in just creating content to to pick up more views just for the sake of it. So yeah, as Forrest Gump would say, and that's all I have to say about that. Um, oh, and one thing I'll leave you with, one of my shadows, I'm not leaving you with the shadow, but I'm describing it, is that I often find myself not knowing what question to ask. And it's a really fascinating feeling that, you know, if you had said to me, oh, 10, 20 years ago, John, you'll be able to talk to aliens, you could literally ask them anything. Uh, what would you ask? And I feel like those introductions are well made. I have strong, long-lasting friendships with my guides who are from different planets, and yet it's rare that I ask questions, and it seems even rarer that you ask me questions to ask them. So if there's anything you want me to find out, like I did previous ones on monetary systems, like asking different guides to tell us about their monetary system, which I just found mind-blowing, the answers. Um, like what do they have money or do they have anything instead of money? Like it was just so cool. You could ask about business, family life, space travel, the news in the universe, like really anything that you want me to ask about. Even like what's coming next with our supposed alien contact or disclosure. Uh, so that's really exciting. Um, Feel free to ask, and I will put it in my calendar for um, like a weekend video for me to create, or sometimes get a bit of time on a Wednesday morning. And I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, please do ask. I I love the opportunity to. It's the energy behind what you ask. Like when you ask me something, I always feel more empowered to go off and seek the answers. Um, so yeah, that's a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, if you've had experiences with aliens, with galactic beings, please do share. And I feel like the more we share and the more we normalize seems like the wrong word. It's like celebrate the differences in our experiences, the differences in our beings, multidimensional beings, past, parallel, present, future. Like the more we celebrate all these aspects of us, the more we open our hearts and open our minds to possibilities, at the same time using discernment and practicing like what feels right for us, like what feels right for you is your truth. And you don't need to, you know, use these old like kind of patterns and paradigms when if at some point modern science says aliens have been proven to be real, it's like they don't get to decide for you, right? You get to decide whether it's real for you. And that's the key, right? Don't just take other people's word for it. And if multiple people are saying this, then do the research and listen to your heart about what your heart says about what they've created. These are really really important. So yeah, I'm going to, speaking of aliens and spirit guides, I'm heading back to Naked Revive. I've not been there in 2 weeks since last week. My father just gone into hospital, and now I'll be driving around to Longstay Car Park through the often very rainy um, Scottish weather, and going around to Longstay, grabbing some lunch. Then I'm doing 3 client sessions, and a little bit more unusually, one of them is recorded, so I'll get to, which I enjoy as well. They're super fun and just as powerful. and then I'll be heading home for dinner and getting uh, getting to meet with the higher self intermediate training class, uh, the prospective students. Um, and that's if you've completed the foundational class, I've invited you along to find out about the intermediate class. And I get to run through the course, which would be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's me. Thank you for watching Driving with John. It was super fun to get to talk to you about aliens. And I look forward to answering more questions and covering more subjects as you ask. So take care, everyone, and sending so much love from Scotland. Take